It's been confirmed now that the Tales and Trails update Minecraft 1.20 will be releasing on June the 7th of 2023.
Trails and Tales will be available on June 7th.
June 7th! That's so soon!
It really is, right? 12 days from now, the Trails and Tales update will be coming out. And by the way, look at this fancy image they've got here. But it's also the image they're using to promote this update all over social media. But it has a little bit of an error with it. Actually, it's not just one error, there are 3 big flaws in how they're promoting this update. Can you spot the 3 of them in just this one image? I would love to know if you can. But first, here's something interesting though. This is actually the exact same day the Wild update released last year, and it's also the exact same date the Wild update's release date was announced, May the 26th and June the 7th. That is a wild coincidence, except it's not, because they actually had to move the release date from a Tuesday to a Wednesday this year specifically to match that. The reason they chose to release these 2 updates, which are wildly different in terms of community reception on the same day, is an interesting topic, but also we need to dive into this thing from the announcement, and I'll go through all of that right after I mention that on this channel I love to cover Minecraft update news, what exactly is inside of them, when the updates are releasing, and the secret things inside of them you might not have known about. If you want to see all of these things, then subscribing is something I'd really appreciate you considering. If you want, you can hit the button now, and you can always unsubscribe later. I wouldn't even be offended. Speaking of being offended, if you're a winter person, you'll probably be offended at the days that Minecraft tends to release updates. So if we take the last 10 updates that Minecraft has released, 1.11 all the way through 1.20, and we look at their release dates side by side, I think a couple of trends become very clear. The first is that Mojang clearly prioritizes summer updates over winter ones. This is an overwhelmingly clear trend, and it probably makes sense when you look at the demographics of Minecraft. Although a lot of players are in the southern hemisphere, where technically speaking June is the winter, it seems as though they want to release this at the peak of summer, because what better way to enjoy the sun and the great temperatures than to stay inside and play Minecraft with your friends. This obviously is something they have data to back up, but the other thing that clearly is backed up by data here is the second observation, which is that the second week of June is a very clear target for them. You can tell this because 3 separate updates released on June the 7th, and June the 8th was the release date of 1.17. This is notable because Caves and Cliffs had to be split into 2 updates specifically so they could release this one in June. The finished part of the update, you know, the bit with the caves and the cliff, that released later on in the year when it was actually finished, but they were clearly under some pressure as a studio to release something in June. I would even say Microsoft is a very data-driven company. They must have some data saying that the biggest increase to Minecraft sales is when they can release an update somewhere in June. This is probably because it gives them something to promote in terms of trailers and PR posts on social media, but it also gives people the opportunity to talk about stuff, because what better way to get people into Minecraft than one of these organic conversations? Hey mate, have you heard about this new update? It's absolutely wild. Well, I mean, it's not, but it's called that. No, because I'm not your friend, I'm literally just a cat. Something else Minecraft like to do to promote their updates is make these marketing images, and I'm loading this one up in Paint to show you around it because it is really great, but it has a really interesting mistake, I would say, that tells us something about Minecraft's development, and it tells us about the boat feature in a way that really is, I think it makes it obvious they need to make changes. But first things first, let's talk about what I love. I love the sniffer over here, just looking off into the distance, enjoying the sunset. It's beautiful. There's nothing more to be said here. I really like it. There is also some lovely archaeology happening here, and to kind of convey the Tales part of this update, it's a guy standing at a lectern. I like all of these tiny features in this image right here. I love the other sniffer found right here, and I love that there's a sniffer egg being sat on by a cat watching some fish. It's very cute on this side. There's lots of features being shown off: the smithing table, the new chisel bookshelves, we've got the new pots with item frames on them. This is a fun idea. It's lots of really good stuff. I love this armor over here. I love the fact that there's cherry trees, and then there's a pillager shooting a camel. This is weird enough by itself. Pillagers aren't a new part of this update, but I guess they're just trying to say camels are a great way to avoid other mobs, but the camel is jumping unrealistically high. If you look at where the pillager is, the player must have come from at least here, which means the camel has jumped a distance which it cannot jump in Minecraft, and again, to me that tells me that, like, well, if this is what people like to imagine, why didn't they just make the camel able to jump a bit higher? But the other crucial sin here is the fact that, do you remember remember recently, Minecraft made it so that horses were unable to go in boats. This was a bizarre decision no one wanted. One person on the bug tracker felt like they wanted it, but even then when it happened, they said, no, that wasn't how I wanted the bug fixed. I said it was a bug that they didn't fit visually, and so long story short, no one wanted them to fix that, and so I was wondering, are camels meant to fit on boats? And so I looked it up, and they were meant to, but then someone reported it as a bug. Camels should not get into boats and raft, and so they fixed that in 1.19.60. And so the lesson here is please stop reporting things that are bugs but are clearly better features for the bug tracker, because Mojang doesn't know how to fix, you know, the fact that even the people who are in charge of graphics design think that a camel should go on a boat and the camel should jump high is a good sign to me that there is a mistake in how Minecraft are putting these things together. I think, you know, I do really like this image. I think it's a great way to market the update, and I love all the little tiny things around it to encourage you to check out the update. But the fact is, it tells us what the Minecraft game is we'd like to play. We'd like a Minecraft with higher camels. We'd like a Minecraft with camels on boats. And I think also we'd like a Minecraft where there's a new structure made of sand in the overworld. Like, why is this a thing here? It looks like it's a part of the natural world. Is it? I don't really know. But yeah, I think this is also, by the way, a pretty natural integration of using Steve and Alex for the two most foremost characters, but then also mixing in some of the new ones. I think a lot of the stuff they do with characters isn't, you know, like they're kind of forceful on it. This one isn't much better of just being like, look, there's lots of Minecraft characters, but we know you know Steve. I think that's the beauty of marketing. You can't sell things to people by, you know, like telling them things that they don't want to hear. You have to show them the things that they're actually interested in. And so I really love that they're showing us things that we would like to see. It's just we can only see them in this one marketing image, which is a bit of a shame. So the other interesting thing about this release date is something I want to dive into after we talk about, is there enough in this update? There are over 100 different unique features found in Tales and Trails, but a lot of people still point to it and say it's kind of like the World update. However, this is a significantly smaller minority than 1.19, and that definitely comes into the community reception of this, which is one of the big differences between Wild and Tales and Trails. And to prove that to you, here is a tweet from Corey Shiviak last year being saddened by the community response to a brand new Minecraft update, and here are the memes talking about it. You know, it's calling it the mild update literally, and here is the equivalent memes this year. This is a meme calling it the TNT update, which, I mean, to be fair, that's technically true, and here's another meme saying that it probably should be called the Tales and Trails update. I mean, it makes more sense that way. The number of times I've called it Tales and Trails in my videos over the last few months is probably a few too many. But either way, the fact that we're making memes and jokes about it rather than calling it the mild update or saying, wow, there sure seems to be half an update releasing in one update's worth of time, tells us that either Mojang has gotten their communication better or they've made a better update. I would say it's actually a little bit of both. I think this update is objectively bigger and better in quite a few ways, but I think it's the announcement and the hype curve that they've gotten better. The Never update was one of the big hype waves we saw in Minecraft, and then they followed it up with Caves and Cliffs, but then the pandemic hit, and then it's been just a kind of a bit of a downswing. Minecraft is always going through these, and so it's great to see that they've gone from this down, and rather than just wallowing in it, they've actually got themselves a better update, which hopefully they can use for 1.21 and beyond. But I think we should move a little bit, you know, although talking about that's interesting, and I want to move into the weird thing we know about 1.21 now, but I do want to talk just a little bit about how this is going to be a good breath of fresh air for the community, mostly in that we finally have exploration-based mechanics coming back to Minecraft. A reason to explore your world is going to exist again, and I don't think they got enough praise for just how well they repurposed existing structures. The Amethyst Geodes and the Ancient City are both more useful because you can find more loot in the Ancient City. You can find these Amethyst Geodes, which can be used, you know, to get amethyst blocks, which can do more sculk things, but also they can be crafted together for a new item. The Desert Temple and the Desert Well have gotten more useful. The Ocean Ruins, in both their varieties, are now places you can find the Sniffer. This is a great update for retouching the world. They only added one new biome, and it's a fairly small one, but the amount of new content we get without that is really quite great. There's reasons to go to Bamboo Forest again. I love the way they really made the existing Minecraft world feel revitalized in a way that actually is quite exciting, and that is the part that I'm most excited for. But now we need to move into the big question you probably have about this update. I think that Minecraft updates are getting incredibly formulaic with the same release date and the same announcement date, and I think that tells us that the 1.21 plan already is most likely going to be try and release on June 7th, try and have announcement at some, you know, Minecraft Live, and try and get the release date announcement at May. And is that a good idea? I think in some ways it is. I think giving the community something to look forward to and something to expect. We already know 1.21 1.21 is in development. We already know there are some, concepts that are being worked on right now. That is a good thing. Knowing that 1.20.10, by the way, there's a beta out for that. I was working on a video before this huge announcement, but knowing that that is happening is very good news too. Knowing that the game is moving forwards is really important for a player base and a community, and so they've nailed that in my opinion. But I do think that there is a point where too much formulaic can get bad, and I think that 1.21 should move out of the Wild update and the Tale Trails theme of just making the whole game a bit better, and really go back to making sure they get one big theme that coherently makes sense to the average player. I think Tales and Trails makes some sense. I mean, if we go back to looking at this, you can say like, well, yeah, this is the tale. Look, he's writing a book, sort of, and the trail is like the camel jumping somewhere. But if you can't explain why the update name fits in one title, then maybe it's not the best title. Or maybe it's a very good title because you have to play it to understand what's happening. Again, I don't have the access to Minecraft numbers and what people respond to. All I know is that I think this is a really needed update because it focuses on exploration, but it focuses in it in a way where I don't think people even realize that. Until I said that this is a improvement to 6 separate Minecraft structures. Did you know that they made exploration so much better? Or did you just think to yourself, yeah, there's the customization and there's the new loot found in the structures, but that's about it, right? And that's something I think about this update that makes it a bit more challenging. It's the way it ties into those deeper mechanics. Anyway, speaking of deeper mechanics, I have to go. I hope that you have enjoyed. If you like hearing about 1.20, subscribe to the channel and look forward to tomorrow because it's the craziest upload day on the channel in, I think, years at this point. I'm going to be answering every big question you might have about 1.20 so you can prepare for the release in case you've missed something over the last few months or in case you're wondering about how to get started with the update. And yeah, I'll be also streaming in the days leading up to 1.20 as well as the day itself. So make sure you check all those things out and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.